YouTube, what's going on? It's HIGHMMA, and today we are here to discuss the events that took place at UFC 311 and to drop a brief little preview on UFC 312, looking like one of the worst cards we've seen in the last couple of years, I'm not gonna lie. We've got fucking Justin Tafa on the main card. It is a disaster. So let's not fuck around. Let's get straight into the things we need to speak about today, beginning with Merab beating Umar Nurmagomedov. What a crazy fucking win. Amazing fight. Probably Merab's best performance of his career in terms of like the skill level of who he was fighting and his dominance. He took 3 rounds off of Umar, the last 3. Umar came out looking really good, you know. In round 1, he actually had some pop in his shots, man. Like, he wobbled Merab a couple times. His grappling was working well, you know, in some of the exchanges where Merab would be like playing to the crowd. It would seem like Merab was doing better, but in reality, Umar would be getting the better work in. And I feel like I was noticing that more than a lot of fans have done since. You know, you see everybody taking that Khabib beef screenshot. Even I did it for my TikTok. You know, you gotta get the views and shit. But if you were actually watching the fight, you saw that, you know, most of the time that Merab was taunting, he was also losing. But that being said, I don't feel that this fight was a robbery, and I really do feel like Merab won. The current argument is that apparently Umar won the first 3 rounds and that Merab won the last 2, I'm pretty sure. I've even seen an argument for people saying that Umar won round 5. I don't know how the fuck you see that. I think it was very clear what happened. Umar got gassed out and then couldn't keep up with Merab's crazy pace, and we saw that, you know. From round 3 onwards, Umar was like a fish out of water, man. This guy was fucking wobbling and cobbling. Dude, we saw like his movements that were wobbly. Like, this guy was gassed the fuck out because of Merab's work rate. It's the same shit that happened to fucking Cejudo and whoever the fuck else. I mean, Merab's on this crazy fucking win streak. I know I picked Umar, but I was always very aware of the fact that Merab potentially could pick up the win here, because it's not as though Umar is literally Khabib, and Umar isn't literally Islam, so he's not going to come in there with that same kind of dominance. That being said, though, he did show how high level his grappling is to say that he had so much success in the earlier rounds. I honestly feel like, you know, considering the fact he's quite young, in the next couple of years, if he works on his cardio, expands his skill set a little bit, I think he could honestly beat Merab in a rematch if he grows and, like I say, expands his game in the right way. But there's not too much more to say about the Merab versus Umar fight. Who does Merab fight next? Maybe a Pantoja fight while we see fucking, I don't know, like a Sean O'Malley, Peter Yan rematch to see who's going to be the next one up. Something like that could be pretty fun. Who does Umar fight? Give him like a, maybe even a Jose Aldo. That could be cool, you know, like a Legends fight. Or if you're not going to do something like that, maybe Corey Sandhagen. He's just lying around. You know, you got Chito Vera lying around. There's so many different names out there. There's lots of things we can do with the bantamweight division to make some good matchups. So I'm going to move on to the next fight we're going to talk about today, and it is Islam Makhachev versus Renato Moicano. Yes, Arman Tsarukyan pulled out literally the night before the fight. It was so annoying because I was really hyped to that fight. That was another example of the 2 best fighters in the division going at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Merab and Umar, I personally feel was the top 2 bantamweights on the planet going at it. Renato Moicano versus Islam Makhachev was not that. And you could see, because Islam went out there and absolutely destroyed him. Now, this is really sad for me to talk about because I'm a huge Renato fan, but I was very aware of the fact that he was going to get melted in this fight. Islam Makhachev is just of a higher skill level than Renato. He's just different he's different levels, man. He's just different levels, and he would have been different levels compared to Arman Tsarukyan in the later parts of the fight. I personally feel like that's what I was saying in my prediction, but now the points that I made in my prediction just kind of go into the void because this fight just lasted so little time that it wouldn't even matter anyway. I mean, Islam went in there and, like, you know, there was a couple exchanges on the feet where personally I feel like Renato was actually doing really good on the feet, but it didn't matter because as soon as Islam got him down, that was it. It was wraps. So I think what we take away from this fight is that Islam's grappling ability clearly still is there and is still in full effect. Not that anyone doubted it being there, but also that Arman really needs to be careful because, you know, we saw the holes in his games in that Oliveira fight, getting put in a couple of chokes. I get that that's Oliveira, but still, if you could get put in a choke like that by Oliveira and, you know, survive, I don't know if you get put in a choke like that by Islam and survive, bro, because Islam has different strength as well. You know, he's heavy for the division. He's got all of these things going for him against Tsarukyan in that matchup. It's just so hard to have to sit and wait and watch Arman Tsarukyan go and have another fight in the meantime while we're sitting waiting for this shit when we wanted it last weekend, man. But you know what? big respect to Moicano for stepping in there. You know, this motherfucker thought he was going in fighting an old man, Dariush, even though I get they're the same age, it's just funny. You know, he was meant to be fighting Dariush and has to fight Islam instead. That is kind of crazy, so you have to give Renato his respect. But I honestly don't really feel like there's too much more to say about this fight. I mean, who does Islam fight next? I feel like it's obvious he should be fighting Sarukian next. Let's let Islam sit out for a while. Let Sarukian go in there, have a fight against someone, earn the title shot back. I feel like we should force the champ into inactivity if the division isn't, like, you know, rich in worthy contenders for the belt. Just make him wait or make him fucking fight up. I don't know. But I feel like that's the best bet for the division right now. Renato Moicano should be fighting Paddy the Baddy next. I feel like money-wise, that is the best fight for him. And we know he cannot afford to lose. We need to give this motherfucker a bag, so I feel like that is the best bet. So I'm going to move on to the next fight I would like to speak about today, and that is Prochazka versus Jamal Hill. My worst dreams came true. My GOAT lost. It is just sad to think about. I'm not going to talk about this fight for very long, but, you know, Jiri looks good, man. He looks like he'd worked on his defense a bit. He didn't look amazing, though. He got tagged a lot in that fight, and I feel like anyone with decent power and a decent chin is going to finish this guy. I feel like Jamal is, I feel like I've got to come clean to you all. I think I overrated him a little bit going into the fight. I feel like I watched back that Teixeira fight a couple of times and just thought that this guy had more skill than he actually does. This isn't any hate to Jamal. He is still one of my favorite fighters. I still love him. I'm still going to root for him any fight he goes into. And I would honestly probably root for him again if he was going to fight Jiri again. Not that I think that will happen given what just happened. Jiri just TKO'd this motherfucker. But, you know, we saw in the fight Jamal's body shots were doing decent. He clipped Jiri a couple times, but he just didn't really seem to have the same sting on his punches that Jiri did. I feel like Jiri going forward will lose after watching that fight. I feel like he's way too hittable. I feel like next fight for Jiri should be a Khalil Roundtree, given where they both are in the division right now. I feel like it will make a lot of sense. And I also feel like that's a really winnable matchup for Khalil Roundtree. We saw against Pereira, he can have success on the feet with someone that's who's taller than him and has a rangy kickboxing style. Now, I know that Jiri likes to get in close, but just because of how big and long he is, he's gonna have to use his reach against a short motherfucker like Khalil anyway. And I feel like if Khalil can close the distance, he's going to do some decent damage. So I feel like that's what we should be seeing next. I feel like for Jamal Hill, give him Johnny Walker or something again. Give him a Johnny Walker rematch. You know, let him fucking knock that guy out again. I don't fucking know, man. I just want to see my guy win. But yeah, that's all I got to say about this bullshit fight. I don't even want to think about it, man. Let's keep moving through the card. The next fight that I would like to speak about today is Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivac. This was an amazing fight. I really liked it. I think that Jailton Almeida is one of the most underrated heavyweights right now, and I feel like he has so many options going forward in his career. He has just insane potential. This motherfucker could drop down to light heavyweight and dominate the division. I could see him beating Pereira. I could see him beating Ankalaev. I could see him out-grappling so many people. You know, Jiri, Jamal, Khalil, you know, Guskov, fucking Ulberg, even Yan, maybe even Yan. Like, bro, light heavyweight is this guy's division if he wants it. And I feel like heavyweight could be too. I don't know, man. I have to retract that statement. I don't think he's going to go out there and beat a Jones or beat an Aspinall. Do I think he beats a Gon? Yes. Do I think he beats a Volkov? Yes. I feel like the grappling that this guy has is just different fucking levels. I feel like that Blades fight was a little bit of a fluke. I said it in the prediction video, and it seemed to kind of come true a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he proved what I was saying right, and going forward, we need to give him something big. Give him the Gorn fight, make it a #1 contenders fight, winner gets a shot at fucking Aspinall, because I don't feel like Jones versus Aspinall is going to happen. I feel like Jones is going to vacate the belt, Aspinall's going to get promoted, and then we're going to need to see the setup for who's going to be the next contender for Aspinall, and I feel like eventually it will be Jailton Almeida. Now, there isn't too much to say about this fight in general. It was a little bit back and forth at the beginning, but, you know, Jailton Almeida showed some crispy combos for someone who's meant to have zero fucking striking and be so boring like everyone says. He did really fucking well. He showed that he's got some pretty decently heavy hands and ended up TKOing Spivac. Amazing fucking win for Almeida. Give him Gon next. I don't know who the fuck Spivac takes next. Maybe fucking Kennedy and Zachukwu. I feel like that'd be a cool fight. Give that guy a push. I don't fucking know, man. But I'm going to keep moving through today's card. The next one that we are talking about is UFC 312. what a fucking disappointment. This card is looking so bad. You know, we've got a couple decent names sprinkled around that we're gonna just highlight today. They're not amazing, but it's like, I'm really nitpicking the card here for something good. And there is a couple of good fighters, don't get me wrong, but I'm so disappointed when, you know, at the start of the year, we had prospects of this card having Topuria Volkanovski. You know, it could have had fucking Jack Della versus Leon. You know, there was so many things you could have done. You know, this could have had Gaethje Hooker on it. There were so many opportunities, and they gave us fucking dog shit. They gave us one big fight, and that was it. That was it. I'm not interested in WMMA, bro. I am not one of these guys. I'm not going to sit here and convince you that Tatiana Suarez versus fucking Weili Zhang is going to be interesting. I'm not going to lie to the people. It's going to be a 5-round snooze fest, man. It's going to be a 25-minute snooze fest at 5:30 in the morning when you're struggling to stay awake to watch the card. And you know what? We're sick of it as fans. We don't want this shit, man. I would have way preferred even an unranked welterweight men's fight between, I don't fucking know, like Neil Magny and someone. Like, bro, I would have preferred that over this. I get that it's a women's title fight and everything, but in terms of entertainment, we all know that this shit's gonna be boring. And we've got motherfucking Justin Taffer on the main card. Why is this guy here? He's like fucking 7-4, unimpressive record. Him and his brother are both fucking terrible. You had his brother throwing a temper tantrum after he got heel hooked by fucking Volta Walker. What's his fucking brother called? Junior Taffer, that came out of Glory. And everyone was like, oh, he's gonna be so good because he came out of Glory. He's fucking shit. And so is Justin Taffer. And I'm not just saying this to be a hater, but these fat motherfuckers are fucking shit. And we all know this as fans. So why the fuck do we want them on a main card of a pay-per-view, bro? Like, if it was on the prelims, I don't care. I'd actually be excited for the fight because, you know, the Taffer brothers usually have a bit of entertainment to them. But I'm not interested if it's on the main card of a fucking pay-per-view where we should be seeing ranked fucking fighters going at it that are setting up title fights in the future. You know what I'm saying? We've also got Ray Saruya on this card, who looks like a decent prospect. I think he's at flyweight. Really good grappling. You know, he's another one of those, like, kind of Rinya Nakamura, Tatsuro Taira, you know, like, Eastern Asian prospects with a really high grappling base. I really like him. I think they're going to do well. He did well earlier this year in a card I watched him in. I can't remember which one it is now off the top of my head. Earlier last year even, I should say. But I feel like he's going to go in here and get the win. He's 10-0 right now. He's looking good. So why the fuck not? I thought I'd highlight him. I feel like not a lot of people are speaking about him. We've also got Jack Jenkins coming in on this card. Now, he is a bit of an on and off fighter. He's not the greatest of all time, but I really like him. I think he's got a fun fight style. Last year, he went out there and beat the piss out of fucking Gilbert Burns' brother. I forget what his name is. I think it's fucking Herbert. He went in there and absolutely mollywhopped him. That was a great fight to watch. Absolute fucking war. Well, it wasn't really a war. It was just Jack Jenkins beating up, you know, Herbert Burns. But I really liked it. I thought it was entertaining. I think Jack Jenkins is an entertaining fighter. So I'm guessing that this fight here is going to be a heater. I forget who he's even fighting. I'm not looking at the phone as I'm recording right now. But you know what? Fuck it. We're rooting for Jack Jenkins. So I'm thinking that he's going to get the win here. Via TKO, probably. I mean, I'm looking at the phone now. This guy doesn't look like anything special. So, I'm going to move on to the next fight that I wanted to talk about today, and it is Alexandre Topuria making his UFC debut. The brother of Ilia Topuria, who was just absolutely taking the UFC by storm. Just dominating, as we see. Knocked out Holloway, knocked out Volkanovski. He's taking everyone, man. He's fucking sick. So, hopefully his brother comes in here and starts doing the same kind of thing. But speaking of his brother, we have to make the people aware of a couple of things. This guy's record is kind of suspect, bro. Like, it's not like Khabib level padding, but like, dude, this guy fought someone who was like 3-7 or some bullshit. You know, like, it is kind of suspect. You know, it does make you think like, yo, why are you fighting someone with that low level of skill? And I'm pretty sure he's picked up a loss or two already, which, you know, shows that he's not at the highest level. Like, you know, he's not as a high level as, like, Ilia. But it is a lot to expect someone to be of the skill of Ilia Topuria. But you have to consider he is training with Ilia consistently, and he has been his whole life. He is going to have a lot of skill. He's going to, you know, he's got the BJJ there. He's been training BJJ since a child. And obviously, since he's been training MMA, he's been doing MMA for the last couple of years. He's going to have improved on his striking. So I feel like he's going to come in here with quite a high level of skill. And I feel like, you know, if he gets fraud checked, it is what it is. But, you know, most people are going to be rooting for him because he's Topuria's brother. I will be as well, because personally, I want two Topurias dominating the UFC. You know, we've got the Basharat bros, we've got this bros, that bros. when do we see, like, you know, the Diaz bros, so fucking legendary, but, you know, they didn't both hold a belt. Imagine if we saw both Topuria brothers holding belts. That'd be fucking sick. So, I'm rooting for Topuria all the way. I feel like he's going to come in here with some insane potential. You know, the UFC are going to be wanting to promote him a lot. They're going to want to be giving him some easy fights at the start so they can get his name out there. So I feel like he's going to go out there and make easy work of Durden. I'm not going to lie. I feel like this is a bit of a layup for him. This might be going to be another Talbot. Remember, I said that I thought Talbot was going to beat Barcelos. He got fucking fraud checked. I'm not a Talbot fan. I was happy with that. But I did not feel like the grappling of Barcelos would be so imposing. We don't know. Maybe Topuria is striking. You know, maybe it's going to be a matter of, like, you know, Payton had the striking but not the grappling. It might be a matter of Topuria doesn't have the striking but he has the grappling. We might see Topuria go out there and just get fucking pieced up by Durden. You never know. But I'm going to be leaning towards Topuria getting the win. I feel like he's got some mad potential coming in here, as I have said. So I'm going to stop yapping about it and move on to the main event of this card. But keep your eye on Alexandre, bro, because I feel like he's going to be something special. But as I said, moving on, we are going to be talking about Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. They're finally running it back. You know, this should be Khamzat versus DDP in reality. But I'm not complaining too much because I am a big DDP fan and I do want this guy to get another title defense before he loses the belt, because I feel like he will lose the belt to Khamzat. And I feel like with this win, he's definitely going to solidify himself as the third greatest middleweight of all time. I personally feel like he is already. Think about it. My top 3 middleweights of all time goes Israel Adesanya, Anderson Silva, then Whittaker. Now, if you're going to start crying about Adesanya Silva, that's because Silva took too many losses in his career. But that's a conversation for another day. You know what I mean? Like, the middleweight GOAT status fucking conversation is a rocky one. But someone with a really solid conversation right now is Dricus du Plessis with the wins he's racking up. You know what I'm saying? He's beating Whittaker, he's beating Brunson, he's beating Adesanya, he's beating this guy and the next, and he's beaten Strickland before. And I feel like he's going to go out there and do it again. You know, he knows how Strickland likes to fight a lot more now, seeing as he's been in there for a full 25 minutes. And he's also seen Strickland recently in the media begging him not to grapple with him in the fight. So he's going to know that that is something that he should try and press during the fight, because we know Strickland is a stubborn motherfucker. He's going to be completely unwilling to work on his grappling. He's going to stick to the style he always sticks to. And now that DDP knows the way to beat that style is forward pressure and grappling, I feel like that's what he's going to come in with very heavily. And I feel like we could be seeing a late round TKO or a late round sub here, honestly. I'm going to lean towards a sub, and I'm going to pick Dricus du Plessis by round 4 sub. I feel like he's going to outwork Strickland. He's going to be a lot more, you know, aggressive than he was in the first one. He was aggressive in the first, but I feel like he's going to be even more aggressive in this one, because he knows that the way to beat Strickland is forward pressure. And if he fights Strickland's fight like Paulo Costa did, staying on the back foot, he's going to lose. And even though, you know, I feel like DDP is going to win this fight, and I feel like he won the first fight was close. This fight can't be close like that one if DDP wants any chance against Khamzat. So I think he needs to go in there, you know, bite down on the mouthpiece and fight a fucking gritty fight. But I feel like he can do, and I feel like he's going to rack up the win. So I'm taking Dricus in this fight, man. But there's not too much more that I can really say about it, if I'm going to be honest. This was a bit of a brief breakdown of the main event to say that I spent fucking ages talking about Topuria. But you know what? I'm going to wrap up today's video here. It's been a pretty decent one, I think. I'd like to thank you all for watching. You know what I'm going to say? You don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe. Do what the fuck you want, man. But I hope you have a nice day, evening, night, whatever the fuck you're doing. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.